Awesome. I really appreciate your time today, man. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely was happy to hear that you were willing to speak because I've been seeing you everywhere recently. You've been getting so involved, and I'd love to hear a little bit about what your experience has been like. I know that you were, with Karl-Anthony Towns and Steven Jackson. I know that you've given supplies, and I know that you've been out there on the front lines. I'd love to hear about what made you kind of feel that it was the right time to get involved, and what your experience has been like out there.
I just feel like the whole thing, for me is very, very touching and very emotional. Um, Actually, so emotional that I feel like I had no choice but to act. I was in Georgia when the Ahmaud Arbery situation was going on, and a day after I get to Minnesota, George Floyd's, situation happened, and after that, I just couldn't stay silent no more. So I reached out to some people, and they told me that Stephen Jackson was hosting a press conference, at City Hall, Minneapolis. So I made some connections and made sure that I was there. Even I know I didn't even say anything, but just to show my support, just to show that I was with the cause. And then I try to find other ways to get acclimated with the whole situation. So I teamed up with Kyle Rudolph this past Friday to help give supplies out to the community, and we actually did it at a symbolic location. We did it at a Target that was looted. It was a Target and a Cub Foods, and they burned down a building. So we set up shop right there in the center of it all. So I mean, for me, it was special because like it was so much love in that one parking lot, and to see all the love kind of spread out from there, it was great. And I also, try to get involved in other ways as I can in the community, try to give speeches here and there. So it's been great.
Yeah, I definitely have been seeing those, and I've been really proud of you, and I've been loving seeing your involvement and everything. And I'd love to hear about some of the things that you say when you do give your speeches. What are some of the messages that you'd like to get across right now? What are some of the things that you really want people to hear, so we can help amplify that voice for you?
For me, one of my biggest messages is we're here to celebrate the life of George Floyd. And the way we celebrate it is, we keep this march together. We keep it on going. We don't let this momentum flop. The biggest thing is, we make a noise, and you don't really do nothing with that noise. So while we're making noise, I feel like it's time that we start demanding stuff from, I don't want to say higher power, but our justice system. I feel like we have to, come together, and I think we've been great as a community coming together in terms of the white Americans, Black Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, the Native Americans, Indians, you name it, the Asians, everybody. I see everybody just even from Minnesota, the Somalians, everybody's coming together for one common goal. And my whole viewpoint is, as me as I play basketball in the locker room, it kind of encompasses people from different environments, people from different backgrounds, people from different races, religions, and we all come together to achieve a common goal. And it's no different than what we should have today, and we should all come together to win this common goal and to win the game of life. So that's just my whole message out to the people, and I appreciate everybody and the different demographics for showing up and fighting the fight for humans.
Yeah, that's definitely really beautiful. I'd love to hear about what the sentiment change starts with me means to you, because I think that that's something that you've really enacted. Instead of just sitting idly by, you've done a fantastic job at being exactly what you want to see. And I think that of all the folks who have been out there, you've been out there more than one way, right? You were at the memorial for George Floyd. You were out there giving out supplies at with Kyle Rudolph. You've been at the press conference. Like, there are so many different ways. So I'd love to hear about the ways that you feel that using yourself as that example, you've been able to help make that difference.
Yeah, for sure. Like the term or the phrase "change starts with me." For me, it means like sometimes as individuals, we want change to happen. Everybody wants change to happen. Change for the greater good. But change doesn't start until somebody initializes the change. And I feel like if we stand around waiting for somebody to do it, it will never get done. So that's why I love that phrase "change starts with me," because it does start with me. And it's kind of something everybody should say to themselves. And for me, I feel like there are more George Floyds out there. I think that my whole goal right now is to kind of dig deep into our into our Black communities, and to help the future George Floyds out, so to put them in positions of power, so they're not, held at the oppression of racial injustice. So if we can, teach them about financial literacy and groom the next Black presidents, the next Black mayors, the next Black governors, the next Black senators. So if we can do that, I think that'll be the best way to move forward.
Absolutely, and I think that that's definitely such an important part of this whole process. You got a chance to speak with Steven Jackson, I imagine, right? Who was very close to George Floyd. What are some things that he told you about the man and just what he's been dealing with right now?
He definitely thanked me for being there and showing up. But when I heard him talk, the biggest things he was saying was that he's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop until he gets justice for his brother. And I feel like as a community, nobody should stop.
I'd love to hear also a little bit about the reasons you were, some of the things that you were able to see out of Karl-Anthony Towns, who's grieving right now, and to see that raw emotion really be a part of his experience right now, while also still supporting for Steven Jackson. What were your impressions of seeing such that human scale right there? It was so beautiful.
It was crazy because a couple of days before, I reached out to Carl, and I was like, "What's up, Carl? It's okay if you don't want to come to the press conference. I'll represent us all." And to see him still show up to that, man, it was huge. It was crazy because I can't imagine being in his shoes and seeing me step out, my family's comfort to support another cause. But man, I have utmost respect for him for that, and it just kind of shows you the kind of guy he is.
Definitely. And one thing that I'm also interested in too is just having the support of your coach, Ryan Saunders. He's been out there with you as well. He's been a part of this whole experience. I'd love to hear about how it's been having a coach who's been an ally during this, who's been able to be side by side with you in the streets, showing support for this movement and everything.
Yeah, coach has been great. The whole organization, top to bottom, has been great, from President Gerson Rosas to the last person in the front office. They've all been great. One thing I would say that I commend them is opening the floor for conversation. I remember when this whole first incident happened, we had a Zoom call, and we just they opened the floor for everybody just to show their grievances, show their viewpoints. And the biggest thing is they themselves want to get a better understanding of how it is to feel as a black person. And they're very understanding, they're willing to listen, and it's just been great because it gives you more motivation, more confidence to go out and do these things in the community, knowing that they have your back. And even when I did the community outreach, when we gave supplies to the community, Coach Ryan was right there with us, helping out the community. So it's huge, and it shows that they're on board for this fight.
I think that's so special, and it's really, really wonderful to hear. What are some of those conversations that you've had with your team over Zoom, et cetera, been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good one. I can tell you that. I mean, everybody's very frustrated. Everybody's a little upset. Everybody's a little down. But as long as we have each other, and as long as we can pick each other up and we can fight for change, I think that's what gives us hope to keep going.
I'd love to hear a little bit about some of the other ways that you feel like you think your fans can get involved, and some ways that you think it would be best for people who are watching this right now to potentially amplify your voice and follow whatever your message would be right now.
I think the biggest thing for anybody is that we have to, as a community as a whole, we have to start holding everybody accountable. We can't turn a blind eye to this issue anymore. If we see somebody speaking or saying things that they're not supposed to say in terms of being, racist or unequal, then we have to address it. We have to be able to nip it in the bud. We have to create a fence, and we have to have people on this side, people on this side. This side is for everybody. This side is for races, and we have to start to weed people out. We can no longer straddle the fence anymore. And as a society, I think we have to hold ourselves to that standard. We have to hold everybody accountable. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. And if it's right, it's right.
And one thing that I'm also curious about too is you've been in Minnesota, where a lot of this is happening right now. I'd love to hear if you have any like sights or sounds that really have stood out with you. Obviously, I think you were there for such a huge moment in history, being there next to Steven Jackson and Karl-Anthony Towns, that is burned into my memory. But is there anything that you've seen that really is going to stick out, whether it's a conversation you've had or just like a chant you heard, or anything that's really going to be like, when you look back at this, like that's what's going to be coming to your mind?
I think the biggest thing I can take away from this whole thing is just what a different time it is. I think this is the first time, and I'm 21, so I haven't been around long, but this is the first time that I've seen, everybody in terms of different races coming together to fight for, black people. And I know when Martin Luther King, marched, there were, white people and white Americans in different races marching with him. But I'll go out now and look at some of these protests, and there's more white people than black people. I've never seen that before. And when I went to the memorial and Reverend Al Sharpton, when Reverend Al Sharpton spoke, he said something to me as well. He even alluded to it. He said, this is a different time. He said back in the day when he used to march, he will see a white counterpart come up to him and say, use the N-word, and told him to go home. And he was saying he was like a couple of weeks ago, not a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, he said he was at the airport talking to somebody, and a young white lady grabbed his suit and told him no justice, no peace. And, just that in its own just told him that it's a different time and it's the time for change. So if that's the only thing I take away from this is that we have people now that are fighting for us.
I definitely see that, and that's something that I've noticed as well. And I think that more than ever, we're seeing the basketball community get involved. Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, yourself, Karl-Anthony Towns, Stephen Jackson, Caron Butler. So many guys have been at the forefront right now. Tell me a little bit about the ways that you think that maybe basketball players have been able to use their platform for good here, because obviously so many people have such intense fandom for basketball, and to actually show that this is bigger than just the game. What has that been able to mean to you recently?
I mean, personally for me, I feel like it's, kind of my duty to speak out in terms of issues like these. A lot of the times, 100% of the times, these people that, that we're fighting for are the people who pay for, our tickets to come watch our games. So I feel like in return, the least we could do is, when they're crying for help, we can use our platform to cry with them, to demand certain things. And I think that's really my whole take on this all, is I'm trying to fight for the people who helped me. So I'm not only helping them because they helped me, but, I'm also, part of the community, part of the Black community. So I'm just using my platform to try to make a change.
It's like what LeBron James has said about being more than an athlete, and kind of as a response to Laura Ingraham's like "shut up and dribble." Like there's so much more that you guys are doing when there's not just the games being happening. I think it's been really great to see folks like you out in the front lines and giving back to the community, and also marching and putting your fist up for what you believe in. So realistically, I wanted to thank you for that, and let you know that you've got an ally in us here. And, in sports media, we hope that we can do whatever we can to help amplify those messages as well. So if there's anything else that you think would be good to share, or any experiences that you think have kind of impacted you that we can give you an outlet for, I'd love to do that with you. And if not, I really appreciate your time today. I think that it was a really great, productive conversation.
I think we covered it all. I appreciate you for having me on here, and thank you for giving me this platform to kind of get my word out to the world again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And best of luck to you moving forward in the offseason. I think that you've got a bright future in this league, and I think the Timberwolves are going to be a really exciting team to watch for a long time, too. I mean, you're now like basically the longest tenured guy on the team besides Kat. You guys are the two vets, which is crazy, because how old are you now?
21. That's crazy, right?
And it's just, you're the second longest tenured guy on the team, 21 years old. Actually, before you go, I mean, being young, I mean, how are you able to really kind of show that you have this maturity? I think that you're really positioning yourself in a way that veterans are, guys like Jamal Crawford, guys like who've been around the league for such a long time. I think that you're really in a great place right now with your age to show how much this means to you. And I think that realistically, I don't even know if this is a question, but guys like Jaylen Brown, who are about your age, right? You said you were in Georgia, he's in Georgia now too, who have been able to just use their platform at such a young age to show that the league's going to be in a good place for a long time. That's just like, again, I don't even know if I have a question there, but that's
yeah. I mean, for me, you're never too young. You're never too young. God has blessed me enough at 21 to have all these things and have this platform. So I don't think I should be too young to use it. There's no age limit that I can say, oh, when you get to this age, then you should start getting involved with these things, because these things affect me. So if there's anything that I can do to inflict change, then I will.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. And I think that, it's just really encouraging to see that the younger generation of NBA players like yourselves and the other folks who have been getting involved are going to keep this league in a great place for a long time. I've never been more confident of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Best of luck again to you moving forward, and appreciate your time again.
I appreciate you. Thank you once again.
All right. Be in touch, Josh.
All right. Bye.